Anyway, tensions are, however, rising as classes go online at Columbia amidst the protests. We are going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking a lot about the student protest stuff because obviously it's one of those issues that like everybody loves. Campus craze, campus crazies, you know, free speech on college campuses, all this kind of stuff is like very salient, a better word for it. And it's something that the news loves talking about. And it's also a phenomenal distraction away from the major point of contention here, which is Israel's doing a genocide in Gaza. Israel's doing a genocide. Israel, when it's not doing a genocide, is still an apartheid regime. Both of those things are completely unacceptable. They're inhumane and must be put an end to. But of course, you know, as mass graves are being uncovered around hospitals in the Gaza Strip, as Israel's pulled out of certain areas in an effort to invade Rafah, which was the final area that all the millions of remaining Gazans were pushed into, you know, the media, of course, will hyper focus on this dumb shit. And not only will they hyper focus on this dumb shit in productive ways to go, hey man, the kids are all right. Let's listen to what they have to say. Seems like they're actually correct. Seems like they're on the right side of history again, you know, like they were during the anti-Vietnam War protests. They were on the right side back then as well. They were on the right side of the anti-war protests during the Afghanistan invasion, during the Iraq invasion, again and again and again and again. They've always been on the right side, which we fucking love looking back at 20, 30, 40, 50 years later and going, they were so brave for doing that. We love them. We love them for doing that. But right now, them. Let's kill them right now. Right now, while they're doing it, we should kill them. We should Kent State them over and over and over and over again. We send in the National Guard. Send in the National Guard. Send in the police. Send in drones immediately. It's like so funny that there are dudes who are literally being like, let's do Israel shit to American college students on American soil that are criticizing Israel doing Israel shit in Israel. It's insane. Making me lose my goddamn mind.
Widening unrest at college campuses across the country amid the Israel-Hamas war. More than 150 people arrested protesting at NYU overnight, and security heightening at Columbia. Stephanie Ramos is there and joins us live right now. Good morning to you, Steph.
There's something also very funny about this entire process where like people are either hysterically or in a very cynical way trying to be like, these students who are protesting against the apartheid, against the genocide, are the Nazis, which includes, of course, Jewish students as well, and that they are harming the safety and security of our Jewish students, which once again, ironic because there are Jewish voices that are at the helm of these anti-Israel protests. It's crazy. Everybody is Hamas, bro. Mark Ruffalo fell for the bait. The media. I cannot begin to tell you how angry I get at these squishy libs who constantly go, oh no, did they find a placard that said Hamas is awesome and we love Hamas? Well, throw the whole protest away. Anti-Semitism is unacceptable. It's like, what are you saying, bro? Why would you ever capitulate to the other side's cynical attempts at trying to bastardize valid anti-war protests? It makes me so mad. Think, man. Think for like 3 seconds. What do you think is going on here? Do you think it's all of these students, including Jewish students, that are just like getting together and being like, yeah, we love anti-Semitism. We love anti-Semitism. It's our favorite thing to do. That's why we're so up in arms. I hate that. Why the
Demonstrators demanding institutions divest from companies with ties to Israel. Columbia PhD student Linnea Norton tells us she was one of the arrested and just wants her voice to be heard.
We were all just sitting cross-legged together in a circle, and then the NYPD came in and arrested us one by one, immediately zip-tied us with our hands behind our backs.
Tensions have been mounting at universities since the Israel-Hamas conflict began last October. Many Jewish students telling us they don't feel safe on campus.
It makes me feel fucking dope seeing so many young college students be on the right side of history and unconditionally and unequivocally voice their support for the Palestinians who are being ruthlessly slaughtered, and doing it in a way where they are also trying to refocus the attention directly on the real victims, the Palestinians that are being ruthlessly slaughtered in Gaza. It's awesome. I had a conversation, as you guys know, yesterday alongside Alex Lol Overruled, who is a Columbia alumni I talked to the current Columbia students. The video is available on my YouTube, talking with students in the Columbia protests, where they talked about what their goals are and how they would like the Columbia University to divest from the state of Israel. This is what many college students are demanding all around the world. They had a very similar thing. We had a very similar thing happen in the Melbourne protests as well when I was in Melbourne, and we went to the pro-Palestine protest. As you guys saw, there was a QR code where they were asking or demanding people to also divest, getting their universities to divest from Israel. I learned this morning that college students were explicitly in support of for Ho Chi Minh and the Viet Cong. I thought they just wanted the war to end, not just explicitly supporting Vietnamese communists. No, they were. No, of course. Yeah, they literally were like, no, we are pro Viet Cong, we are pro Ho Chi Minh. Yes, explicitly and unequivocally pro communist, pro Ho Chi Minh, pro Viet Cong across the board. Anti-war protests in the U.S. are famous in 1960s, 70s. Now come back, the regime oppresses those as expected, shows more Palestine flags like you show the Viet Cong flags. Yeah. Any more pictures that clearly show Westerners raising the NLF flag? I grew up in American education and they never showed us these pictures, just the students that were protesting. Yeah, the Asian sensation. I guess you didn't know this, but the HBO show Sympathizer did a shit job of showing this. Yeah, it doesn't. It makes it seem like they're all of the pro Viet Cong, all the pro like North Vietnamese Liberation Front people were actually just LARPy so far in the Sympathizer. But yeah, I mean, this has always been a pro Ho Chi Minh. This has always been a pro Ho Chi Minh community in general. Obviously, he also was an Ameribu as well. If you are a communist and also an Ameribu, then I will have a special place in my heart for you regardless. And also, he got a dub, so that's pretty good. Not many of those in the long history of real existing socialism and anti-imperialism. Well, there's a good amount of dubs there actually, and anti-imperialism. So do we have the flags ready for kickoff? When's the war? When we go to war with China? I feel like if that happens, it's not going to be, flags are not going to cut it. But yeah, the fact that people like are trying to say that this is unconscionable, unacceptable, inappropriate in 2024 is pretty funny though. It's got the same vibes as being upset at the like American Revolution. You know what I mean? Like, wow, what did they do? Those guys were really fucked up. Not capitulating to the British Empire. You know what I mean? How dare they? Can't believe they were waving the stars and bars, dude. What the is that about? That's really messed up. And it's like, what are you saying? They won. We know it was bad. We know it was unconscionable. We know it was literally completely unacceptable. How are you going back when you have the benefit of hindsight and relitigating things from the wrong side? It's not like it's 1960, bro. What the do you mean? Stars and bars isn't the U.S. flag, it's the Confederate flag. You're right. Sorry. I should have said the U.S. flag specifically. I know. Stars and stripes is how you say it in the U.S. flag. Stars and bars, the Confederate flag. But stars and bars sounds way cooler than stars and stripes. Stars and stripes just sounds kind of lame. Why are you, Hasan, Israel, not letting Kaya, Palestine, roam free and keeping her prisoner? Why can't Kaya, Palestine, have free roam, sovereign? And why is she being kept prisoner? Couple different reasons. One, because unfortunately, when she gets free roam and is not laying on that bed, she ends up laying on the floor, and that fucks up her elbows because she's really heavy, and it ends up creating hot spots on her elbows. Like it's just like it scabs, and it creates these like weird spots on her elbows where there's like a lot of pressure points.
How has this hit you, the demonstrations over the last couple of days?
It's not only like mentally exhausting. I found this past few days it's been like physically affecting me, and I got told that the Israeli flag is a Nazi flag.
New York.
Oh no, dude, that's crazy. What? I feel like so much of the conversation just kind of stays at the talking points and the feelings of some students over the actual arguments being made, over the actual harm that is being that a lot of the pro-Palestinian students are being subjected to. It's just ridiculous. It's like, yeah, let me center this conversation around the feelings. Let me center this conversation around your feelings, actually, and not the fucking ruthless massacre of tens of thousands of fucking Palestinian children. You know what I mean? How do we always center the feelings of Zionist students? Like, it's crazy. And no, don't try to do that thing where you're like, oh, I can't believe you're fucking saying Zionist instead of saying Jewish students. No, motherfucker, I'm saying Zionist students. You want to know why? Because there's anti-Zionist Jews being arrested right now. Ain't nobody gives a fuck about their fifis. Why? Because they're on the wrong side. Because they're on the wrong side according to the American State Department. They're on the wrong side according to the media. They're on the wrong side. Even though 50 years from now, we'll look at a fucking snapshot of those brave souls. You know what I mean? Reddit take on the protests are some of the worst comments I've ever heard, ever read. I know. Reddit is don't go on Reddit. Just don't do it. It's ridiculous.
Governor Kathy Hochul calling for dialogue.
People need to find their humanity. Have the conversations.
I'll give you the fucking silver lining. Are you ready? This kind of protest 5 months ago would have, and did happen, by the way, would have only featured, the way that it was covered in the media, would only feature how anti-Semitic they are, how disgusting these people are, and how they're all Jew haters, and how they all have to go to jail for their Jew hate. That is the only kind of dialogue that occurred in the immediate aftermath of October 8, October 9, October 10, when Israel relentlessly started bombing Gaza. And anyone and everyone that dared protest against that, and it did not matter what their religious background was, did not matter what their ethnic background was, everybody immediately were like, nope, those guys hate Jews. And they would find like random fucking dumbasses, disruptors, shitty protesters, assholes who want to fucking actually engage in anti-Semitic acts, and they would hyper focus on it. That's why I kept saying it's unproductive to laser in on random fucking people saying like, saying that like Hitler was right or whatever the fuck. Those people do not represent the broader movement. But like I said, notice how even Kathy Hochul, however the fuck you say it, is basically like, well, let's not get a little ahead of ourselves. Let's have a dialogue instead of being like, these are Jew haters. We have to kill them. It's obvious that the discourse has shifted. Obviously, at what cost? Well, the cost is tens of thousands of Palestinians ruthlessly slaughtered.
Columbia University announcing they're now moving to hybrid learning, allowing students to decide whether they want to attend class in person or online. Columbia's president now facing growing calls for her resignation from influential donors and alumni like the New England.
Yeah, immediately all the donors are like, yeah, you didn't kill the students. That's really fucked up, man. All right.
Patriots owner Robert Crouch, who says he is now reconsidering his support for the university. Robin.
All right, Stephanie, we appreciate your reporting. And all of this we know is coming with College Commitment Day for high school seniors just over a week away.
Let's break down where these protests are coming from.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, where are they coming from? George Soros. It'd be really funny if they were like, yep, George Soros is doing this. Because it's like, I'm Brian, and today I'm going to be talking about how these anti-Semitic protests are actually being sponsored by big Jewish donor George Soros, the puppet master. What a funny way that would be to just like, stop the anti-Semitism, stop the anti-Semitic hate. I don't think it's George Soros, by the way, and I don't think they're gonna say George Soros. From the network that brought you big Jewish donors are funding and facilitating America's great replacement. Like, remember, half of the coverage that they do is literally Jews are destroying the moral, the moral fabric of Western civilization. That is a one-to-one comparison to Nazi propaganda. That's literally what the fascists believed. That is literally what Fox News watchers believe. That's what they say. Okay, George Soros is, a placeholder for Jew. That's it. By saying Soros, they're showing their interlocutors that word has no meaning for them, and they will be taken aback. Yeah. Hold up, guys. I dropped a big Soros bomb, a big one. And I used that to show my interlocutors that being anti-Semitic doesn't scare me. Let's keep going.
From who is funding them, where they started, and actually where the dollars are going. All right, well, let's begin. First off, they're everywhere.
And they're everywhere, Brian, but they're often under one banner. This is what to know behind these protests you're seeing. On-campus organization, Students for Justice in Palestine. Brian, it's basically behind most of the major campus protests we've seen. And as I pointed out, as I mentioned, it's everywhere. It's all across the country.
Yeah, you got 200 plus chapters of various sizes. Smaller ones are over in Tufts, smaller ones over in Emerson, but bigger in the Ivy League schools. How do they communicate? You could guess it. They go through the...
Wait, I thought there was like a big shadowy mega donor behind all of this. It turns out they're just describing how college students protest and also how they communicate and organize. That's right, everybody. College students are on that tic-tac. Let me tell you, okay? Yeah, they're saying ACAB, which stands for Assassinate Cool American Babies. If you hear people saying LOL, that means legalize opium legally. That's right. That's what they want. And they're doing it right in front of our eyes.
Go through the cell phone, go through text messages, go through certain sites. And these are some of the colleges that have gotten our attention.
Yeah, these are the notable chapters. These are the ones we're covering in the news right now.
They're talking about it like it's that map of active white supremacy hate groups. Bro, if this was a map of active white supremacy hate groups, they would be talking about how fucking patriotic they are. I'm sure they have done a shit ton of coverage about like how woke and gay Media Matters is, or all these like right-wing tracker accounts are, and right-wing tracker media operations are, for looking at a bunch of brave patriots, you know, the Gravy Seals, doing what needs to be done, right? And greatly overemphasizing or how much they're like hyperventilating about that sort of thing. ACAB, assassinate cute American babies.
Now they're making the most noise, you know, Berkeley, NYU, Yale, Columbia. But again, I think the important point is 200 plus chapters across the country for students for justice in Palestine.
So they've been there, they've been simmering underneath, waiting since October 7th. There's been a lot of talk about the...
Yeah, they've been waiting. Ooh, they're waiting in the shadows. They're like, oh, I can't wait. They're talking about students like they're the guys that did 9/11. Brother, if Republicans, right-wingers, and reactionaries across the board had their way, we would be prosecuting every college student in Guantanamo Bay. We would be throwing them in Guantanamo Bay. I think some of the reason why at least a lot of right-wing Americans love Israel, other than the theological justifications for Armageddon, other than the fact that, you know, it aligns with the State Department interests, other than the fact that they are enemies of our enemies, Muslims, is also the underlying feeling of jealousy that Israel gets to do advanced fascism so openly in broad daylight. And it's exactly that kind of advanced fascism that many of these guys desperately want here in the United States of America. That's why I always joke about how so many of these people want to do Israel shit to the fucking students that are protesting the Israel shit that Israel is doing to the Palestinians. They only have one note. It's just full throttle, baby. Let's go. Let's kill them. Let's fucking arrest them. Lock them up. The fuck we doing? I feel like sometimes it's a little, they're little jelly beans that Israel gets to do it and we can't do it here.
The pro-Israel because of the massacre they suffered. But believe it or not, if you go on TikTok, there are more things Stand With Palestine from October 7th, even the following week, than there was Stand With Israel.
So the big question is, well, who's behind Students for Justice in Palestine? Well, here are some of the groups funding that organization. This
My favorite is when, Wall Street Journal writes like insane shit. Welcome to Dearborn, America's jihad capital. And that's from 2024, by the way. That's not 2002. That's not 2001, which, by the way, they said the same exact shit in 2001 as well. Imams and politicians in the Michigan city side with Hamas against Israel and Iran against the U.S. Who's behind the anti-Israel protest by Steven Stalinsky? Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis and others are grooming activists in the U.S. and across the West. The Houthis, man, they're doing the dang thing. I've heard from authorities that there's this guy named Hasan, which sounds real close to Hamas, by the way, having them Houthis on. He's finding the attractive Houthis and bringing them on the broadcast so they can poison the minds of the goddamn youth. Is this really Wall Street Journal? Brother, if you are shocked that this is a Wall Street Journal headline, then that could mean one of two things. One, you are relatively new to the Israel conversation, but it's good. I'm glad that you're finally seeing the way that this kind of coverage occurs in mainstream media. But that's it, actually. There's no two. That's it. It's just you must be new. This is I want to post. Great. Maybe you should try to create a fake American actor streaming the Western lefties. You should change more than one letter. Nice try, Hamas. Yeah. If you tried to use an American man to poison the minds of the youth and groom them into thinking that Hamas is good, then let me tell you, should have tried harder. Made his name not Hasan, so similar to Hamas, but named him Hank or something. Hank Pecker. Another one, Tom Nichols. I supported the invasion of Iraq, but a just cause doesn't make for a just war, by Tom Nichols. Tom Nichols, Radio Free Tom, now stating, a generation that has grown up in peace and prosperity, jonesing for the rush of having their own version of the 1960s and looking desperately to shoehorn every cause into a replay of what they think their boomer grandparents were doing. Come on, Tom, I respect you, but everything here is off. Kids who grew up in the Great Recession had more peace and prosperity than kids that raised during the 50s. I don't see any 60s cosplay. Just kids tired of seeing dead Gazan kids on their phone and want to do something. This guy had a really good take, by the way. Remember Megaphonics? You misunderstood their take and thought they were being serious and not sarcastic. Also, the worst take that he had here, Will Bunch had here, was saying, I respect you, Radio Free Tom. Yes, they have an immeasurably higher standard of living, and the Great Recession is mostly something kids at elite colleges read about. Two, we're just going to disagree on the cosplay. What cosplay? This is what I don't understand. Wearing the keffiyeh, which is a symbol of Palestinian liberation, is not cosplay. It's solidarity. You think it's cosplay because you immediately attribute it to terrorism, because your fucking racist mind cannot comprehend that this is something that Palestinians want those in the West to do. It's so stupid. Cynical shits can't begin to imagine anyone does anything for someone else. I know. It's just like, why are you so mad? That's the real question I have, always and forever. Why the fuck are you so goddamn mad, bro? Why? Why are you so mad?
PAC stands for Westchester Foundation, headed by an anti-Zionist ex-Orthodox Jew. And then you can see they sponsor, Brian, all these different elements of SJP, Students for Justice.
Damn, he hit the hard J on that one. He's like, yeah, headed by a Jew. They're behind the shadows in the darkness. Folks, let's not forget. It is so funny, to me at least, that there are people who literally cannot comprehend in their minds. There are ultra-Zionist Jews out there who think that these dudes would not just, at the flip of a dime, at the tip of a hat, whatever the fucking saying is, immediately turn those same crosshairs on them. There is nothing funnier to me than thinking that these dudes, these reactionary pieces, would ever in a million fucking years not turn on you. You were so close, at the drop of a hat, the tip of the dime, whatever, at the flick of a tit. Yeah, they are not on your team, big dog. This is why I always say, if tomorrow every single Zionist Jewish person in the United States of America turned around and became rabid anti-Zionists, like brave, courageous, if they just flipped the script, if you think America would not stop supporting Israel, you are delusional and wrong. That's why it's a laughable notion that people go, oh yeah, Jews have the stranglehold on the media. Am I right? They control it. It's like, no, they don't, man. They don't. There happens to be aligning interest here. That's precisely the same reason why these guys are so quick to just also immediately arrest Jewish anti-Zionist protesters and subject them to the exact same cruelty that they subject the Palestinian, pro-Palestinian protesters that are of different backgrounds. Reminds me of what Ethan said about wishing the Nazis will come for Ben Shapiro first. He wasn't even wishing. He was just saying that, like, they will come for Ben Shapiro first. I don't think they would come for him first, if we're being honest, but they would definitely come for him. Yeah. Them Jews, they're behind everything, folks. Even, they're on both sides. They're controlling both sides of this Israel conversation. Here at Fox News, reporting live about anti-Semitism rising in America. Jews are controlling it. It's great, man. It's cool. Thank you for this phenomenal coverage, Fox News.
And we've seen these groups out and about. We've seen them with signs, and we've seen some of their chants in terms of what are their resources when they go to jail. What are their resources when they get kicked off campus? Like Congressman Omar's daughter. This is where they can go. These are where a lot of the fun.
Bro, almost hit the Shahada on accident, dude. He went, Congressman, la ilaha illallah.
Funding is.
Yeah, they go to A15 bail, legal defense fund. They're not only organizing, putting it together, but what happens to you if you're arrested at the protest.
Yeah, this isn't, Mom, I got drunk last night, I'm in prison, I got a drunk driving ticket. They know exactly where to go when they get themselves in trouble, and they know exactly their rights when they get themselves on campus.
Damn, that's really fucked up that they know their rights, dude. Dude, this is just a glaring W for the pro-Palestinian students. You know what I mean? These guys, they're too smart. They know their fucking rights, man. It's really messed up. We should take their rights away. They're organized and they're informed, and we hate that. We hate that. God, I'm so mad right now.
And this leads to this.
Other funding, student governments, talking about how the protest fund is self-funded, American Muslims for Palestine. A lot of this is opaque stuff.
Student governments, when I was in college, they used to pick out stand-up comedians and when to appear and what venue to go. They're doing protests. Now, this might be the most important wall.
Well, this is off-campus stuff. So Students for Justice for Palestine, that's on-campus student organizations. Then you got stuff that's happening off of campus.
Yeah, now let's get to the good stuff. The real demons, okay? The real demons, Muslims, okay? Let me tell you. Yeah, sure, Jews are responsible for the anti-Israel protests as well, but let me tell you, you know who else is responsible? Them goddamn Arabs! Them goddamn Arabs, them Muslim mans, brother!
Like American Muslims for Palestine, the parent organization, informally, of SJP.
Right, and you see a lot of these lecturers hop on campus. They got to get paid. That's where the money comes from. We see a lot of their antics, like on Monday was Al-Quds Day. They stopped the Golden Gate.
Monday was Al-Quds Day. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, they were saying glory to the martyrs, brother. What the fuck? They were saying we will dismantle the Zionist entity.
Bridge. They maybe block traffic in your tunnel, in your area, to make what the point? That they're powerful, that they have something to say? And Al-Quds, not a positive organization.
Well, tell everybody, what is Al-Quds a reference of?
They're the outgrowth of
the Al-Quds Committee, April Death to America protest.
The Islamic Republic of Iran. The Al-Quds force is the one that kills our people in Iraq and tries to bomb them out.
Kills our people in Iraq? Bro, what are our people doing in Iraq? I thought we pulled out. What the fuck do you mean? Excuse me? Why are our people in Iraq? What's going on there? Is anyone going to ask that question? What are they doing over there? What's that about? Okay, never mind.
Syria as late as 2 days ago.
So named after Al-Quds, the Al-Quds Committee is the one, for example, the protest you heard, Death to America.
Guys, you need to understand something. Many of you in the chat are woke libtards talking about Al-Quds actually means Jerusalem in Arabic. In Arabic, do you understand something? It sounds scary to me, though, okay? Oh, Al-Quds simply means Jerusalem. Okay, well, guess what? You know what it means to me? Al-Qaeda. That's right. Sounds quite similar to Al-Qaeda. And also, another thing that they're teaching our children in school, algebra. That's right. Did you know that they are teaching our children Islamic sciences in our schools, teaching them the number 0 and the number 1 and 2, teaching them algebra? I will not be having that. Hell no. Al Jazeera, Al-Qaeda, Al-Quds. Kind of fucked up, if you ask me. We better stop that shit right now. No more numbers. No more algebra.
A chance that's this group who also has big plans come this summer.
The worst is yet to come for the DNC. In Chicago, plans...
Oh, they love that. He's like, oh, yeah, they're going to fucking disrupt the DNC. It's like...
So already in place to create chaos in the streets, inside or out. And they're not pro-Republican. They're just anti-Democratic Party unless they change and become pro-Palestinian.
So that's the AstroTurf behind...
That's the AstroTurf? You did not describe... Bro either doesn't know what AstroTurfing means or just, you know, is, I guess, trying to act like this is AstroTurfing. I don't know, like misinforming their audience deliberately. He just described how all of these college campus students are literally communicating and organizing on social media, which genuinely is the exact opposite. It is like fundamentally the opposite of AstroTurfing. He described a grassroots movement and then just simply ended it by saying, and that's how they're AstroTurfing it, folks.
A lot of these protests that you see that look like students, and it does attract students, but this is the funding, the organization behind these student protests across campus.
I'm Steve Ducey.
He mentioned a bunch of self-funded philanthropic organizations that don't just work with pro-Palestinian activists that get arrested, but just across the board, like work with bail funds and whatnot, tied it all together and openly recognized that they were you know, organizing on social media, genuinely grassroots, only to turn around and be like, and that's why it's AstroTurf, folks. Come on, Hasan. Normally they'd say something about Jewish funding, but they're a little handcuffed here. I know. They still hit that, though. They still hit the hard J in the beginning of the coverage where they were like, it's a Jew that controls the pro-Palestinians. Westpac, run by a Jew. They just had the opportunity not to do that, and they still chose to do it. And I respect that integrity. Okay. All right, let's get to the billionaire donors rethinking Columbia University support. By the way, Robert Kraft, famous rub and tugger Roberto, and many others are withdrawing their support from Columbia University. Why? Because they're not killing the fucking pro-Palestinian students, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Would you get RFK Jr. on the stream? I've shit on him too much. I don't think I'd be able to get him on. I know his son is a fan of mine, though. It is very odd that there is the uncle-nephew dynamic rearing its ugly head once again in the conversation.
What's going on the campuses reminds me a little bit about the Vietnam War demonstrations. Okay? It's the responsibility of the university to create a safe and welcoming environment. And for many universities, including Columbia, they failed in doing that. But they're catching on. And right now, I think they're trying to do the right things.
That was Omega Fan.
Wait, what? I can't tell. Sometimes when people talk about this shit, like, okay, I saw someone on Instagram post a meme yesterday that at first glance I thought was like, oh, here's an ally out of nowhere. Like, this person is defending the pro-Palestinian students. Turns out the meme was actually the opposite of what I thought it was saying. They were saying that in like the 1940s, Nazis were blocking Jewish students from going to class, just like the pro-Palestinian protests are blocking Jewish students from going to class now. History never changes. And when I saw that, it broke my fucking mind. I was like, I cannot comprehend it. So now every time I hear somebody talk about like making the college campus a safe place for all students, obviously at first glance, I'm thinking, oh, they're pro-Palestinian. Like they're saying that students should be able to demonstrate on campus safely, especially anti-war protests. Like this seems like a valid form of activism, and it is it's perfectly legal in the United States of America, and it's a good thing, right? Turns out, nope, they're using that to say no. Actually, it's Jewish students that are somehow being harmed by these fucking pro-Palestinian activists, which of course is comprised of Jewish students, Jewish anti-Zionist students as well. But we don't talk about that. And that's what the college campuses are fucking up on, not making this a safe space for the Jewish students that are attending class. Why? Because there's pro-Palestinian activism happening on campus.
Family office chairman and billionaire donor to Columbia University, Leon.
Yeah, we love billionaires, don't we, folks? Yeah, no, totally. They should definitely control and dominate this conversation. Oh, by the way, documenting Jew hatred on campus, one of my favorite groups of all time, obviously. The pro-Hamas illegal encampment at Columbia University continues to have visitors from outside the university. One of today's visitors includes Motaz Aziza. Yet Columbia professor Shai Davide has been barred from campus by university, claiming the administration can't ensure his safety. We call on all Jewish faculty to publicly condemn the pro-Hamas takeover of campus and demand order be restored to create a safe environment for everyone, including Jewish students and faculty. There is nothing funnier to me that demonstrates perfectly, where this hyperventilation is coming from than looking at a Palestinian journalist who literally documented the genocide of his people, had his friends and family members mercilessly slaughtered by the Israeli state in front of his eyes, only to survive, only to get out and become someone who will speak on those conditions from his own personal experience, immediately being called Hamas. Once again, it's just Israel shit. It's literally just Israel shit. That's it. It's just Israel shit. It's more Israel shit. They're like, hey, why can't we do some Israel shit here in America? What's going on? This is objectively no different, in my opinion, than like a white supremacist turning around and being like, I feel less safe on campus because there's blacks around. Okay? That's it. Just a random black guy walking around and a white supremacist being like, sorry, you can't do that. My feelings as a white supremacist are more important than anything else. I will throw a fucking bitch fit. Do you understand me? Yale campus cops arrest black students all the time for just being on campus. Of course. Apparently, Patriot Zionist owner pulled funding from Columbia, which is why they went hybrid. Good riddance. What? Hybrid? Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about the Scott Galloway shit, too. Don't worry. Professor Galloway defending Israel. Do you know that most of the pro-Hamas hate Motaz because he's pro-Fatah Lamau? Yeah, Motaz also was like, quote unquote, soft canceled by the fucking rabid Western leftists for some time for having a difference in opinion with them. So the idea that like, the idea that he's like super pro-Hamas is pretty funny. And it doesn't even fucking matter. Like, who gives a shit what his own personal beliefs are, bro? He's literally, in that moment, he is a victim of an ongoing ethnic cleansing campaign, and he's there to speak on the ongoing ethnic cleansing campaign that has killed his coworkers. co-workers, ruthlessly slaughtered his co-workers. Oh, you saw that too? I thought it was only visible in Arab Twitter. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care that he's like fucking Fatah guy. Who fucking cares? Yeah, Motaz is the guy that libs who disagree with Israel and hate Hamas should like, but they don't because he's Arab. That's right. Because a lot of the resentment and animosity has nothing to do with like political differences. It has nothing to do with like Hamas's governance or anything like that. This is beyond you, man. A lot of Palestinians criticize him and a lot of Gazans were mad at him. It's within the Palestinian community. Isn't for outsiders to talk about. All right, whatever. My ultimate point here is that I don't care about his fucking difference in agreement, difference in opinion. You guys know where I stand on this sort of stuff. I'm not going to sit here and fucking scold a Palestinian who escaped Gaza. Okay, that's insane. Especially because he's not there to be like, Hamas is bad, Israel has a right to defend itself. He's there to talk about how Israel is fucking mercilessly slaughtering Palestinians. Why should Israel be the only democracy that gets to shut down free speech? I mean, Israel's not a democracy. All right, let's watch the billionaires rethinking Columbia University's support, and then we'll get to some wonderful players here talking about. I think this clip literally is featured in this video
moments ago, speaking to CNBC's Andrew Ross Sorkin about the ongoing political protests at Columbia over the Hamas-Israel war. Cooperman's comments came as some billionaire Columbia donors are saying they are rethinking their support of the school amid everything that is going on with the protests. Yeah. And Andrew joins us now. So
Andrew, I agree with Mr. Cooperman. I think maybe they were a little slow to it. I know this will make nobody happy, but I think Columbia is a good example of where they're trying to do the right thing. Now, it was Columbia where students took over, during the Vietnam War, students took over the president's office and everybody thought that was so cool and so noble. Younger people like me grew up and they're like, what? Mm-hmm. What? I was always afraid to knock on the president of the university's door. There's nothing cool about anarchy and chaos on your college campuses. And I think sometimes these administrators, I don't know if they came straight from academia. I don't know what their problem is, but they're paid to be adults. They're paid to keep people safe. They're paid to have an orderly environment where students can learn. So I think Mr. Cooperman may be right there, that they're getting it. Better late than never.
Well, look, one of the things that just happened today is they've just announced they've gone hybrid effectively for the rest of the semester as a way of dealing with it. Now, a lot of people have said that means you're not controlling anything. It means you're effectively giving up. You're saying you can't control the situation. Now, maybe that's the practicality of where we are, but I think there is a real question as to whether Columbia is handling this well. I think they're getting better at it, if you will. But, that
there's nothing cool about chaos and anarchy. It's awesome. Nothing cool about it whatsoever.
Hasn't stopped Robert Kraft. Of course, the owner of the Patriots came out. He's an alumnus and said that he is effectively not going to be giving them more money. And there's a whole number, by the way, of major billionaire donors on Wall Street and others who come from Columbia. Warren Buffett, one of probably the most famous alumni. He has not spoken out. I think there's a real debate as to whether the donors should be trying to use their influence, not trying to use their influence. That's another piece of it. And so many of them, frankly, I know a bunch who would like to actually speak out, who say, you know what, I don't want to because I'm so scared that actually my employees will actually either turn against me on this issue or that my customers will turn against me on this issue. So there's a pull going on here in terms of all of it.
One of the elements that Mr. Cooper mentioned in the clip that we just saw and listened to is he referenced the protests and the violence on campuses during the Vietnam War.
Right.
There is a night and day
difference. There's a difference
between that period of time and today.
Yeah, the night and day difference is that this fucking demon probably would have been on the other side back then as well. Or actually, you know what? These are the exact same fucking people who were probably the pro-Vietnam War. What the fuck's he talking about? What's the night and day difference? It's an imperial army doing unimaginable cruelty to the native population. It's almost identical. The only difference is that, like, I guess the opposition, they're yearning for freedom and emancipation is the same, but the opposition isn't like communist. That's it. Well, there are some communists, but ultimately not all of them are aligned on that boundary in the way that like the North Vietnamese Liberation Front was.
And the night and day difference is factored into it, something called the the explosion of anti-Semitism as a result of all of this.
Oh, yeah, because here's why it didn't fucking matter in the Vietnam War. Because you couldn't make an argument that you care about the South Vietnamese population because you were literally slaughtering them. That's the difference. That's the major difference here. And I'm sure plenty of people would have tried to be like, well, actually, we're trying to defend the autonomy of the South Vietnamese government that we planted, which was brutal and oppressive and awful. But, you know, they couldn't make that argument in the Vietnam era against the anti-war protesters of the time because nobody really gave a shit about the Vietnamese people and their lives and livelihoods, because if they did, then all of a sudden people would ask the question, why are we bombing South Vietnam?
I don't know how you contend with that.
I think the hardest part right now is how you create a distinction and a line. And this is what I think so many of these administrations are trying to figure out, is a distinction and a line between those who want to protest what Israel is doing in Gaza from a policy perspective and those who are genuinely anti-Semitic, genuinely harassing students, genuinely causing such physical problems that it's creating security issues and it's not allowing the students to learn. And it's shocking to me that the administrations can't figure out how to actually deal with this in a meaningful way. And there's, by the way, been a turn on the donor class, interestingly enough.
Yeah, no, totally. Where is all of this stuff that they're talking about, by the way? Where is it? I haven't seen a fucking example. There's like, I'm sure there is one, you know what I mean? But there's not really, like, if these protests were being motivated and guided by anti-Semitism in the way that a lot of the naysayers claim it is, then I feel like there would be more examples that you could use of real existing anti-Semitism, and not simply that, like, my feelings were hurt as someone who went to counter protest the Israeli genocide and defend the Israeli genocide. And people, of course, correctly said that I was an ultra-Zionist akin to a Nazi. If these protests were motivated by anti-Semitism, I feel like, you know, anti-Semites don't exactly hide their anti-Semitism, especially when they're protesting. They very openly put the fucking swastika up there. They'll fly that shit. We've seen many such examples, you know? Very odd.
Saying that they shouldn't actually be using their...
Bro, what are you talking about? Look what they did to this woman. Guys, trigger warning. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. I'm about to show you gruesome imagery of a brave, lone Jewish counter-protester. You're about to see some real... It gives me no pleasure to report this. This brave soul was murdered. Like, spiritually, I would say. Not like physically murdered, but spiritually murdered, assassinated. Victim to an anti-Semitic, violent anti-Semitic hate crime. It's going to be really hard to watch, but we have to watch it. As those who defend Palestinian emancipation, as those of us who speak out against the Israeli occupation, we also have to reckon with our side and the actions that our side engages in. I'm letting you know this is going to be a very trigger warning once again. Very sad images are about to grace your presence. It's time to talk about the examples, the many such examples of anti-Semitic hatred. I hope they're getting paid well for this shit. Soulless motherfuckers. Local woman drinks invisibility potion, takes weird pathing through crowd. Many of you want to look away probably, but you shouldn't. You should stare at the pro-Palestinian anti-Semites. You should stare at them and see their crimes in full display. I might get banned for this, but I'm proud. I'm proud to show you that there are brave souls out there who are still on the side of the American State Department, pretty much every Western politician, most of the Gulf state leadership, and also on the side of the apartheid state of Israel. No one is on their side. No one with power is on the side of Israel except for this brave soul, Israel's strongest warrior. Do you hear that in the background? That's anti-Semitic music. Everybody knows zurna, the flute-style horn instrument. That is calling for jihad, which of course means killing Jewish people. That's right. It's a war horn. Do you hear the drums of liberation? Many of you might think those are the drums of liberation. That actually is the drums of assassination. Oh my God, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't open up that. Oh no, don't open up no, don't do it. Guys, they're about to show you something really gruesome and really scary. If it wasn't enough that you saw the anti-Semitic music that they're listening to, look at the banner. Look at them dancing menacingly. Now, the mind of the Western liberal cannot comprehend the danger that this woman is in. They can't. It is so obvious to me that the Palestinians, the Muslims, have been able to capture with their mind control music the minds of many other brave American souls who probably once could have been great allies to the Israeli cause of genocide. And yet here they are dancing. And that dance is nefarious. Why? Why is that nefarious? One, Arabs dance. They're dancing like Arabs to Arabic music. Two, this is a dance that they do before they do the hate crimes. The dance itself is also a hate crime, but this dance in particular is also spelling. It's a double hate crime. Avert your eyes from the banner that you might see in a brief moment. No! Oh, what does that say? It says, choose for a free Palestine. Oh God! Oh, another snapshot. We have a lot to reckon with. As pro-Palestinian advocates, activists, we have a lot to answer for. That's right, we do. Trigger warning, guys. Are those watermelon slices? I didn't want to say it, but yes, those are indeed watermelon slices. I have goosebumps. I have goosebumps. I have goosebumps. If you squint your eyes on this pause, it looks like she's a pro-Palestinian Jewish person. No, that's why it's so perfect. That's why this image is so perfect to me. This is the best part, because they always say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I'm telling you, this picture is worth 1,000 words. This perfectly captures the fraudulent, hyperventilating Israel defenders in the United States of America talking about how fearful they are and how that fear is completely unwarranted and how anti-Semitic the pro-Palestinian side is. That's it. You put yourself there. You put the yellow Star of David on your back. You wrote Jew on your t-shirt. You went to the fucking protest. You didn't get the reaction that you wanted, and you just sat there angry as people genuinely did not. This is the perfect thing to do to counter protest, by the way. People don't give a shit. They're dancing, good vibes all around, people hugging each other, people sitting around, tweeting, talking to one another. And here she is trying to self-victimize. It's perfect. Just white knuckling through it all. Nobody cared. Apparently there's a follow-up to this as well. We don't hide our faces. My wife said, look at my face. I'm not afraid. Look at my face. I'm not afraid. Put my face on camera. Show my face. Dox me. Dox me. Dox me. Dox me. Dox me. I will not be ashamed. I am proud.
At my face. I am not afraid. Put my face on camera. Show my face.
Dude, that's so funny, bro. With the fucking Palestinian protest, they're dancing in the background, just chilling. Oh, it's so fucking cringe, dude. Oh my lord.
Dogs me. Dogs me. Dogs me. Dogs me.
Dude, the invocation of the Holocaust with the yellow Star of David is so fucked up, but it's so unimaginably fucked up that it like bounces back to being funny, because she's literally saying like, it's my Holocaust, it's my personal Holocaust if you don't let Israel genocide Palestinian children. Like, what a ridiculous thing to fucking say. Is literally like stubbing your toe and being like, this is just like the Holocaust. What the fuck? HasanAbi precog once again, there are so many chatters shadow banned like this trying to type right now, but no one can see them. Yeah. Oh, 100%. It's awesome. People in the chat being like, yeah, you would love to hate crime me if you had the opportunity, don't you? Okay. Yeah, you would. I bet you'd fucking love to do that. You hate Jews. I know it in my heart. She's not afraid because her counter-protest isn't against the popular messaging of our entire political and media apparatus. Her stance is not controversial, so brave. Yeah, it's so ridiculous. I love videos like this because it's just so cringe. It's so unimaginably cringe. Like the hate crime that she engaged in is one that she did herself. She posted so much cringe that it is borderline a crime, a war crime, maybe even a hate crime. The hate crime in and of itself is obviously saying is likening not being allowed to do a little bit of ethnic cleansing to the Holocaust, which is already ridiculous. You're just undermining the severity of the Holocaust, but it's crazy. This woman is craving attention so bad that she acts like she wants the Holocaust to happen to her specifically. No, she doesn't act like that. She's saying it has happened to her. She's literally saying it's happening to her right now. I'm sorry, but this reminded me of this banger. Oh yeah. Columbia students participating in the Palestinian protests take part in a cult-like tribal dance while dancing and clapping to Arabic music. It's awesome, dude. So much of the anger and resentment stems just directly from unadulterated, unfiltered racism. That's it. And like, there is still a market for this. There is definitely still a market for this. I mean, look at this. This got 7,000 likes, bro. Especially in a place as like, especially in a place like Twitter, Elon Musk's Twitter, you're gonna get a lot of fans who are just like, no, I love how fucking racist you are here. It's awesome. Ridiculous. Funniest thing about this is that it's basically the same dance you do at Jewish weddings. Both are cool and fun. Yeah, it's just hilarious. It's entitlement. Zionists feel like they are entitled to pure and perfect victimhood forever. They're just libs. Yeah. It's the quintessential Middle Eastern dance running around in a circle. I know. I just think it's fucking ridiculous that they're like, oh yeah, this one was awesome too. Remember this lady? This Zionist traveled all the way to Japan to throw a tantrum during a pro-Palestine solidarity rally. I remember. It's so funny to just be like, why won't the government kill all these people? They're saying Israel is in the wrong. That makes me feel bad. Like, why won't the government come in and take care of them? It's just like the expectation from those who defend Israel is that like everywhere you go is also Israel. And all of your enemies are also Hamas. And obviously, like whichever government is currently operating in that region has to literally use military force to apprehend all of those who are protesting against Israel. What the fuck's happening here? And it's like, that's not how this shit works at all. It also reminds me of the other protest that we saw the other day in New York of a bunch of like old ladies and old men sitting around and like they put like red paint on their groin area and were like, yeah, and trapped themselves in cages. Do you remember that shit? Heidi Bachram says the Hamas fans of Colombia are having a party. This is all a laugh. Meanwhile, classes are online and Jews can't walk safely on their own campus. The enemies of America are delighted that an elite university has been dominated. A win for hate. Israelis are generally some of the worst tourists. I'm sure you know that as a Turk, so entitled. I mean, they're just American, dude. Israelis operate exactly like fucking Americans do. Bro, that's just how entitled they are. They act like they own everything in the world. Like how they steal food from whatever nation in the area, call it Israeli food. Like, mate, we've been eating these foods for thousands of years. The thing is, it's all a matter of vibes that you put out there. Like if Israel was like, yeah, this is our cuisine is developed off of the many different ethnic backgrounds that our country is built around. You know what I mean? If this was done peacefully, if it was done fucking peacefully, then it makes sense. Then you can engage in like wonderful shared culture. It's just not done peacefully, and at every step of the way, it's like, yeah, no, it's our food. Also, the people that invented these foods, we kill them and we hate them. So are you saying you support these pro-Palestine protesters that are cornering Jews and spreading anti-Semitism? Bro, if you mean they're cornering Jews in the sense that like there are Jewish anti-Zionists that are also in the corner of the protest, I think that's what you're mistaken on. Okay, what do you mean cornering Jews? I love that the argument is never, do you agree with the pro-Palestinian protests? It's, do you agree with the pro-Palestinian protests that are actually killing people? I've made it up in my mind, but guess what? What if it was true? It's like, I can't fucking argue against your hallucinations, dumbass. What do you want me to fucking say to that? Hey, it's not real. It's not real, but what if it was? The fuck do you mean cornering Jews and spreading anti-Semitism? What is your definition of spreading anti-Semitism? Saying that Palestinians are human beings and Israel should not conduct a genocidal ethnic cleansing campaign in the fucking Gaza Strip, and that Israel is an apartheid state? Those are, that's spreading anti-Semitism? Yeah, here, let's look at some cornered Jews. Spent the first night of Passover at the Student Seder in the Gaza Solidarity encampment at Columbia. The Jewish flank of the Palestine Solidarity movement is growing. It is so beautiful to behold. Judge for yourself how unsafe these Jewish students look. Love that I got hit with an ad during this. Haha. Yeah, I'm sure you love it. Damn, dude. Look at all these cornered Jews. They probably don't recognize that they are so unsafe right now. I found the best takes on the protest. Easy for me to say since I'm too old to even remember college, but they absolutely should expel every single protester and fire any faculty who speaks up. And they should call the National Guard in and anything else they can think of. Act on every impulse. Go nuts. You can do anything. Have some rookie cops fire indiscriminately into a crowd of Ivy League students. Bring in hungry pumas and set them loose among the scions of the nation's elites. Really explore the art of the possible. I'm sure it will help. That's a hell dude guarantee. I can ask you, as I'm new to this channel, is what happened on October 7th a terrorist act? Was Israel not supposed to retaliate? Israel should have never allowed October 7 to happen. You know how? Not by force, but by doing the exact opposite, by actually no longer operating an apartheid regime. That's it. The fuck do you think is going to happen when you fucking cage millions of people for 75 fucking years and humiliate them, kill their family members, cut off their fucking food supply, call it putting the Palestinians on a diet in the Gaza Strip, take over more and more of their internationally recognized territory in the West Bank, do pogroms by way of using basically the Jewish version of the Klan, which ironically has members in the war cabinet right now. They're called Jewish Power, by the way. That's the name of the party. Jewish Power, like white power. Literally the same. It's ridiculous. The fuck do you think people are going to do when they're backed into a corner? It didn't take much for you to go out there and fucking at least engage in the act of killing. I don't know if you personally did it yourself, but engage in the act of killing of fucking brown children. The fuck are the Palestinians supposed to do in that situation? Yeah, not war cabinet, but national security cabinet. Sorry. Free speech is amazing. I'm glad you have it. Keep spreading what you believe in. Good for you, bro. So answer this. What do you think is the best outcome to come from this? The best outcome to come from this is that the rest, many people, especially in younger generations in the Western world, are coming to the recognition that maybe everything they thought about Israel when they didn't really think about it all that much was objectively wrong, and that Israel is legitimately an apartheid state, similar to the South African apartheid state, but actually much, much worse, as a matter of fact, than the South African apartheid state, because it has existed beyond the abolition of the apartheid in South Africa and learned the lessons of what not to do in order to continue your apartheid. Do we believe in a Tuesday solution? Here's what I believe. I believe that there is currently a one state. It is just an apartheid state. It is the current Israeli apartheid state. I believe in the abolition of said apartheid state. That's what I believe in. Any way to get there where Palestinians have full recognition, full autonomy, civil liberties, and are able to exercise the same civil liberties that like average Israeli citizens are able to exercise. Any way to get there is good. Doesn't matter. Anyway, now at University of Minnesota Twin Cities, an emergency protest mobilized upwards of 1,000 UMN students and staff now gathered outside of Memorial Union. Student protesters arrested this morning have been released, and the Solidarity encampment is being reestablished. I think people don't understand that like trying to violently suppress student protests have historically never really worked. And the more you escalate, the more you move in the direction of Kent State. And honestly, it's just not a successful method at all. Yeah, that kind of repression always backfires. And it's so odd. I guess it's even more odd when you think about like people relitigating Vietnam now and claiming that the Vietnam protests were tankies too. And that like that's somehow bad. In my opinion, all you do is basically, I guess, defend those who are declared tankies and show them as like objectively on the right side of history.
Influence. That's the other piece of this that I just wanted to mention, which I find so hypocritical. You have university administration saying we shouldn't be listening to these donors.
There are some videos of protesters harassing people, like surrounding them and screaming in their faces. And some videos from Toronto where people are cheering when Iran fired rockets. I understand why you won't show that stuff, but it's out there. Sometimes that's all it takes for people to dismiss the protest altogether. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Straight up, I'll say it right now. I don't care. When you gather tens of thousands of people together, there are gonna be people that have extreme perspectives on the matter. What you're supposed to look at, and we did this with the BLM conversation. We did this with the BLM conversation over and over again. Oh yeah, let's not listen to what they're saying about police brutality disproportionately targeting black communities. Let's just look at some of the edge cases and then tar and feather the entire movement. It's just a way for reactionaries to try and fucking cry victim when they are the ones who are upholding the unjustifiable structures of oppression. That's it. This does not invalidate the cause of the protest, because the reality of the matter is, let's say this didn't happen. Let's say no protest happened whatsoever. Not even a single person protested against Israel's apartheid regime. Not a single one in the Western world. What changes? Nothing. Israel is still slaughtering Palestinians and doing an ethnic cleansing campaign. That's it. Do you understand? The people that look to that to dismiss the movement altogether are those who do not want to see how violent Israel is. They are those who are in defense of Israel. So why the fuck would I listen to a white supremacist about what the fuck they have to say about Black Lives Matter protests? Why the fuck would I listen to someone who is in defense of Israel and what they have to say about fucking pro-Palestinian protests? What the fuck? What are we doing here?
Donors. Why should we listen to these donors? The truth is that these universities have been selling influence, peddling influence to alumni for the last 50 years.
Yes.
That's the entire product that they're selling. They're saying, hey, we would like you to give us money. And by the way, if you give us money, we're going to allow you to have dinner with the president once a year.
Your stupid
and if you
kid can get in.
And your kid can get in. If you give us more money, you'll have 5 dinners with the president. Now you say, oh, I don't want to give the money. Or
yeah, this is also another thing to remember. A pro-Israel organization offered payment to individuals who can blend into protests at Columbia University, specifically seeking those with keffiyehs and Middle Eastern appearance for more deeper infiltration from the Shirian Collective. Volunteers willing to wear keffiyehs and walk in those demonstrations mass. Individuals with Arabic-sounding names and Middle Eastern appearance may be uniquely positioned for deeper infiltration and will receive cash compensation for their vital role in this operation. There are so many examples of pro-Israel groups creating like those stickers, like rape is resistance, Hamas is doing rapes, and that rape is actually for resistance, and then slapping them all over the fucking city, and then only to be caught because it's such a laughable operation. It's just so fucking stupid. I'm a vet, and a few months ago I was on the verge of homelessness. When I reached out for help, I got told by every vet or government agency I called that they couldn't help me until I physically didn't have a roof over my head, and to call them back when/if that happened. And that's what you get for signing up for the imperial system. Exactly. Well, I'm glad that you were able to overcome that, by the way, chatter, but that's how it works. Government doesn't give a fuck about you. And even when you do lose the roof over your head, they still don't, they're not going to help you. Not saying that it was like the protesters that had like fucking pro-Hamas signs or whatever the fuck were actually all like infiltrators or whatever. I'm not saying that at all, because the reality is there will be people with extreme opinions. There will be people with radical perspectives. There will be people who are even anti-Semitic at these protests. Of course, it's going to happen. There are always going to be people that either infiltrate or there are opportunists. This happens in every fucking protest. It doesn't matter, okay? You have to look at what the protest aims are, what the goals are, and see whether you agree with them or not. That's it. Yeah, wow, 18-year-olds with extreme opinions who take it too far, shocker. Yeah, half of those people that are at Columbia University who I offer unconditional support to would probably consider me to be like a fucking reactionary Israel defender, okay? From where they're standing. Even though I've been advocating for Palestinians since before they were fucking like 7 years old, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. I like that. It's fine. I'm glad that they're doing the right thing. Who cares? No, they wouldn't, dog. I'm saying maybe not half of them, but I'm sure there's plenty of people there that think, I don't go hard enough or whatever. Who cares?
I have a view. Talk to the hand. And I think it's just a fascinating development in terms of what we're seeing.
Yeah. Hey, everyone, MSNBC.
Alec Baldwin slaps the phone out of a pro-Palestine protester's hands. Oh, yeah, here. The other thing I wanted to show you. Not this. Not that. Oh, another phenomenal BBC World title. Bruises and broken ribs. Israel's unexplained prison deaths. How did that happen? Wow. The editor working overtime on this, okay? How did that happen? Who knows? Wait, where's the other one? The other Morning Joe clip. Scott Galloway defends Israel.
One of my pet peeves seems to be one of your pet peeves, and that is, 2 million people have been killed in the Sudan civil war. I haven't seen a protest at NYU for that. Assad killed 500 Arabs.
Oh my God, bro. What do you mean? What do you mean? Brother, this is the worst fucking counterexample. This is the worst argument. It's like, yeah, other bad things happened and these guys didn't protest. I hate that. First of all, you don't even fucking know that. Like, what is this argument, man? This is literally the fucking, oh yeah? You think you're homeless here in the United States of America? Well, what if you were homeless in fucking Rwanda? That's not an argument. You can't point to other bad things to be like, guess what, dude? Why are people not protesting these other bad things? Okay, well, they're protesting this bad one and you're defending the bad one right now. Yeah, it's the classic, oh, you're not a fan of genocide? Name every genocide. Can't believe it, dude. Seems to me like you're a phony anti-genocide. Name all their albums.
I didn't see colleges burned down. 500,000 Arabs killed by Assad. Saddam Hussein killed over 1 million Muslims in wars. I gassed them. I didn't see protests.
Yeah, no, you know what we did? We killed more Muslims then. That's what we did. I didn't see people protesting against Saddam using American weapons as they were killing other people. Yeah, guess what, dude? ISIS did that too, okay? Another one of our phenomenal achievements in the fucking Middle East. And we didn't protest that either. Fucked up.
There. Yet your school is...
I can't believe these children were not protesting things that happened before they were alive. Like, the argument here is so fucking idiotic because it's like, what are you trying to say then? Like, just give Israel this one? I didn't see these children protesting against the Nazis. It's like, yeah, dude, because they weren't alive. I can't believe these like 18-year-olds were not protesting Saddam Hussein, a person who was executed by the American government before half of them were fucking alive, okay?
We're shut down right now because Israel is responding to the worst attack against Jews worldwide since the Holocaust. Help us sort through that.
And we can debate that response.
I don't know algebra, but I'm pretty good at the common denominators here and why there's no common denominators in all of these. It's just that it's Jews defending their homeland. Because if you look at the numbers, even with American wars, they don't add up.
Let's run it back. Let's run back our fucking NYU Stern School of Business professor, Scott Galloway.
400,000 people in Afghanistan with you, and I especially appreciate your leadership on this issue. I'll give you some more numbers. 2,200 American servicemen killed at Pearl Harbor. We go on to kill 3.5 million Japanese, including 100,000 in one night. 2,800 Americans. And
he's talking about Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
9/11, we go on to kill 400,000 people in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Dude, you're just a Nazi, bro. You are. Like, we are the bad guys, okay? This is bad guy talk. Just saying. He's doing bad guy talk right now. Like 9/11, we went and we killed people that had nothing to do with 9/11. Like, even when we talk about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, those are civilians. We killed children. We fucking lit them up.
Americans in 9/11, we go on to kill 400,000 people in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Like, you're just posting all of the other bad shit that we are doing, bro, in defense of Israel. It's fucking insane. Here's another number. 23,000. The number of people that will see the top of the hour ad break, unless they subscribe.
Iraq, we weren't accused of genocide. You had
I mean, dude, we should be, and we were. It's just you don't think that.
If Mexico had elected a jihadist cartel to run their country, and then they incurred into Texas, and on a per capita basis killed 35,000 people, or the population of the University of Texas, and on the way back took the freshman class at SMU hostage and hid them under tunnels, what would we do?
Would we nuke Mexico? Should we do that? You just described all the other stuff that we did. The overcorrection, the overreaction, the fucking monstrous bloodthirst demonstrated by the American government, that all of those students would most likely also definitely protest against if that were to happen. I just think it's a very odd thing to advocate for. It's like, well, America does a whole bunch of unimaginable, unconscionable shit. It's like, bro, Israel is not a separate entity. You can't fucking have your cake and eat it too. Israel's actions is America doing that. That is why Americans are fucking protesting. And if those protests were so irrelevant, you wouldn't be talking about them. The reason why you're talking about them is because those protests are relevant, because those protests are kind of fucking the bag up a little bit.
The Great Sonora radioactive parking lot. But Jews are not allowed, and Israel is not allowed to prosecute a war. And they are prosecuting a war more humanely than we have done. The ratio of combat.
Yeah. This is my favorite. My favorite version of Israel dick riding is when they're like, dude, Israel is so sick. They're actually better than America.
To civilians is of civilian death to combatant mortality is lower than it was in Mosul, lower than it was in Japan, lower than it was in Germany. So there's just a different standard for Jews in Israel when it comes to prosecuting a war. They're allowed to fight back to a truce, but unlike America or any other Western nation that has attacked this viciously, they're not allowed to win a war. It's a double standard.
They're not allowed to win a war. That's awesome, man.
One of my pet peeves.
Ay.